welcome to my art studio. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through how I took this space and turned it into a creative refuge using primarily used items with a handful of exceptions. But maybe I should introduce myself first. My name's Alessandra, and I make drawings. Big ones. I've been doing this full time for about 11 years now, but this is the first art studio that's fully mine, that I actually own. The first step of renovating this whole space was I needed to come up with a plan. So I spent some time researching and getting ideas, but I realized that I don't know what I'm doing with interior design. I decided to call up the brilliant interior designer, Carley Summers, and just pick her brain for half an hour to get a good sense of what to put where, what paint color, can we keep my massive drafting table, and how can I fit it into the space? The very first step she suggested we dive into is to paint our floors completely high gloss white. I was a little skeptical at this point because these floors are plywood, and I'm so glad I listened to her because it really took a dark, low-ceilinged room and made it feel like an airy room in the sky. So right after painting the floors, I knew I really wanted to install a long desk running the length of one side of the room underneath the skylights. So I went to Home Depot and I got some plywood, industrial brackets, screwed them into the wall, capped it with this cute little filing cabinet I found on Facebook Marketplace, and then I painted the whole thing a high gloss white. This was really perfect because I wanted several spaces throughout the room where I could just spread out creatively and have mediums everywhere if I need to. Or for example, if I'm doing a print sale, I can just line all the prints up, 100 of them, and just sign them all at once without it interrupting my other artwork elsewhere in the studio. So next up, we installed these gorgeous curtains that we found on Amazon. This is one of the few purchases that we did do new, just because I wanted there to be some consistency in the space. Carley suggested that we use this yellow color that would act almost as a neutral base in the room that we could build with other colors on top of. I also wanted to make sure that this space had a lot of rugs. Our bedroom is directly underneath my studio, and I'm an early riser. So it was really important that we have some muffling going on so I don't wake up poor Matt every morning at 5:30 when I'm up here bustling around. Carley found this gorgeous, genuine Persian rug off of Etsy. It's a little beat up. It's definitely used. It's over 100 years old, I think. And I really love all of the blues and pinks and how they really interact with the browns in the space. So next to that, we laid out a brand new Rush House rug. This just brings such a gorgeous texture into the space. And I wanted to make sure to get this one new because this is really in the central area for experimentation for me. And I needed to make sure it would be able to handle all of the wear and tear, spilled mediums, what have you, that I'm going to be subjecting it to. So the next big step from here was getting a big anchoring point in the middle of the room. Carley suggested I do a large table, which was perfect because, as I've mentioned, I need a lot of different surfaces on which to spread out because I use 8 million different mediums in my work. So I found this table on Facebook Marketplace that was absolutely perfect. It was perfect dimensions. It was old. It had that cool vintage feel. It has a little bit of a dip in the center, which doesn't really bother me, honestly, but I feel like just adds to that vintage feel. So next, in the corner over here, we have the wardrobe. This thing was a nightmare to get upstairs, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm really glad that we did it. I needed storage for all of my notebooks, for all of my mediums, for my pastels, etc. And knew that I needed a good storage solution. And this thing just fits the bill perfectly. I love this piece because, again, it's another Facebook Marketplace find. The original owners told me that it was from like 1890 or something like that. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that I love it and I love the wash of the wood. And it has, again, that just older feel that really echoes a lot of the other elements in the space and really brings that good vintage feel that I've been looking for. So next to the wardrobe is the one item in this whole space that actually I wanted auction of all the things. I saw this chair, and I was like, what the heck? I'll bid $60. Lo and behold, I won it. And once I brought it upstairs and set it down, it just played perfectly with the Persian rug and the wardrobe, and just brought this really lovely point of dusty rose into the space. So above that, I put this cute little painting I found from an Etsy dealer. That's just like a cute little landscape. I liked it because it had pink as its dominant color, which again played with the mauve, played with the Persian rug, and a beautiful gold frame. And it was, again, pretty cheap. So next was my drafting table. I've had this drafting table for years now. I got it when I was in Boston. Again, this was actually a Facebook Marketplace find from very early. Actually, honestly, I think it was Craigslist. I've had this thing for so long. Regardless, this thing is a beast and is single-handedly responsible for ensuring I haven't gotten carpal tunnel in all of my years of drawing. Working at an angle is just so crucial for wrist health, I've found. And so this is probably one of the most important drawing tools I have in my studio space. Next to all of this, it was important for me to have a place to hold all of my paintbrushes and pencils for when I'm working. So again, Marketplace, I found this really cute Victorian pie crust table. It has these really cute little claw feet, and it's just a perfect little spot for holding everything while I'm in the middle of creative mode and working and need to be able to grab my pencils or sharpen them or what have you. So lastly, we have the far edge of the studio, which is where I keep my big rolls of watercolor paper and my printer. I loved this solution for holding my paper. This is what I do 100% of my work on. Every single roll is Arch hot press watercolor paper. I think they're the best. It's the best paper. I could write a sonnet to Arch hot press watercolor paper. But I burned through it so quickly. So I knew that I needed a spot where I could store these giant rolls. And the people who were selling the wardrobe had this matching blanket box. And they were like, I don't know, would you want this? And I'm like, yes, I'll take it, please. I know exactly what I'm going to use it for. Across from it is my printer. I got this about 2 years ago now, and it's where I make all of my prints at this point. It's a 100% giclée printer, which means that all of my prints are designed to last really indefinitely. Like they found giclée prints that have lasted for, hundreds of years in some cases. They're like 150 years. I don't know. There's challenges with timescales of studying that. The point is the prints are meant to last like for a very, very long time. So that's my workspace. Thanks again so much for following along. Shout out to Carley Summers again for all of her help making sure this place did not turn out like a disaster. I'm going to give her links below in the description if you want to look at her work further. Also, if you like this studio space, if you like this aesthetic, definitely be sure to check out my other videos and subscribe, just because you're probably going to like the aesthetic of my artwork. Okay, see you next time.